Hello everyone. In this walkthrough, we're going to learn how to easily test Cloudmersive APIs using cURL commands. This is just like testing with Postman, only without the user interface. We can test our managed instance and private cloud endpoints this way, and we can test against default or select regional public cloud endpoints. I'll be demonstrating this from a Windows 10 command prompt using the default Cloudmersive public cloud endpoint. Before we get started, it would be awesome if you could like the video and subscribe to our channel. I'm starting off looking at the interactive docs Swagger page on api.cloudmersive.com. After we've created a Cloudmersive account, this is where we can test API responses, and it's also one of several places we can find ready-to-run code examples for a bunch of different programming languages to help structure our API calls. cURL isn't a programming language, but we'll find cURL command examples here as well. If you're watching this video and you don't have a Cloudmersive account yet, not to worry. You can sign up for a free account in minutes to get a free API key, and that will give you a limit of 800 API calls per month with 0 commitments. Right now, I'm specifically looking at our Virus API Swagger page. We're going to run our cURL test by calling the first API on this list called Scan a File for Viruses. If you're unfamiliar with Cloudmersive security products, this particular API performs a fast signature-based virus and malware scan on our file uploads, and it returns a simple response object that identifies any viruses it found. Below our response model, we'll find a list of programming languages we can click on to get code examples for structuring API calls in our applications, and towards the end of this list, we'll see cURL as one of our options. When we click on that option, we'll see cURL command examples already structured to perform a post request against the default api.cloudmersive.com endpoint. If we're working from a Unix-like system, we're in luck, because these examples are pre-formatted for Unix systems by default. If we're on Windows like I am, we'll need to reformat these examples a bit differently before we start testing from our command prompt. Let's take care of that now. Let's go ahead and copy these examples, and then let's open up our text editor and paste them in there. To make these examples usable for Windows, the first thing we need to do is replace the backslashes between each line with carets. That's Shift-6 on our keyboard. After that, we need to replace all the single quotations we see here with double quotations. When we're all done formatting our request for Windows 10, we can grab the file we're using in our post request. Specifically, we need our file path, and we can get that by entering our test file name into our Windows search bar. For example, I'm using a PNG file called screenshot example saved to my desktop. And once I find that file, I can simply click copy path to get my file path. I can then go back to my text file and replace the path to file placeholder string with my test file path. All that's left now is replacing the Your API Key Here placeholder text with our own API key. I'm not going to show this part for security reasons, but I'll show you the rest of the request in just a bit. Once our request is properly structured with our API key, we can go ahead and copy our formatted cURL commands, then hit CMD to open our command prompt, and then paste our cURL request into our prompt. Once we do that, our API request will run automatically if it's properly formatted, and we'll get a clean result response from the endpoint we tested against. We can test this with iCar files or any other files that might turn up a clean result false response. And that's all there is to it. Now we can easily use cURL commands to test all Cloudmersive APIs from our command prompt. If you have any additional questions about testing Cloudmersive APIs, please feel free to reach out to a member of our team.